I was sent down from Washington, D.C. to see about these murders.
See what about him?
See who's doing it.
Martin Scorsese's Killers of the Flower Moon dramatizes a traumatic period of history for the Osage Nation people. This century-old tragedy still impacts the Osage people in 2023, beyond the screen.
This is a story about greed. This is a story about fraud. This is a story about trust and betrayal.
Killers of the Flower Moon is adapted from journalist David Grann's 2017 book by the same name. The film centers around 1920s Oklahoma, during a period commonly referred to as the Reign of Terror. During this harrowing time, at least 60 Osage people were murdered or disappeared, leaving their white spouses or guardians to inherit their rights to the reservation's mineral wealth. Why was that mineral wealth so coveted? Well, oil was discovered beneath the Osage Reservation in the late 1800s. In today's currency, that oil supply would have been worth hundreds of millions of dollars per year.
I think there's layers to this, right? The layers of the human experience of dealing with, oh my gosh, there's so much wealth, and then not only that, but then what this wealth did to the outside world and the onslaught that came onto our people.
Tara Damron of the White Hair Memorial in Fairfax, Oklahoma, gave us some background on the complicated ongoing struggle between the Osage Nation and the U.S. government. She explains that the Osage Allotment Act of 1906 entitled Osages and their descendants to shares of profits from the reservation's mineral estate, known as head rights.
And the other thing about this is that there's this whole system. So you have to talk about guardianships when it comes to American Indians and to Osages. And that's a federal Indian policy. And what that meant is that we didn't have any control over our financial affairs. And the United States government assigned a guardian, who was usually a non-Indian, to manage our financial affairs, which set the stage for just horrible amounts of theft.
Yep. In 1908, Congress decided that Native Americans deemed minors or incompetents would be assigned a white guardian to oversee their finances. And in 1921, Congress doubled down on that racist policy by requiring Osage Nation members to prove their competency or else be forcibly assigned a white guardian. But sometimes even that wasn't enough. As the 1920s went along, a number of Osages disappeared or died mysteriously, with their white guardians or spouses claiming their inheritances. The FBI did investigate at the time, and some perpetrators were convicted. But Damron says the US government hasn't done enough to achieve justice for atrocities it seemingly enabled.
As the trustee, it is their responsibility. They are responsible in part for their role in allowing all of this to happen.
According to the Osage Minerals Council, approximately 26% of all headright interests are thought to be currently owned by non-Osages. In 2011, the Osage Nation won a $380 million settlement against the U.S. in litigation that accused the Department of the Interior of mismanaging the tribe's trust assets. Along with several other Osage shareholders, Damron is a plaintiff in another lawsuit that accuses the U.S. of mishandling mineral royalties. That litigation is ongoing. Scorsese's film might be many people's introduction to this 100-year-old injustice, but Damron hopes that it inspires viewers to further educate themselves about the history behind it.
And what I hope people take from this is that maybe I want to find out more about this, right? And that Scorsese's film is a movie for entertainment, and it's based on historical events. It's not a documentary. I think that people should care because they need to know what happened and they need to understand it. We are, thriving and surviving and continuing to, fight all those battles, whether those are legal, cultural, political, whatever they are, that continues, and people need to be aware of that.